This is the Heart Now here, Spurs fans podcast. We are back here on a Monday night, and Yids, we are not best pleased, are we? Just when it feels like we are going into a rhythm, when things are looking good, it's two steps back. It's not been the nicest thing to be talking about today as a Spurs fan after yesterday's loss to Palace, because it was arguably the worst performance under Ange Postecoglou since he came in last year. It's myself, Lee Tarrier, Matty Kerr, and Kevin Dennis. How you doing, boys? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right, boys. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Oh, mate, Kev, we didn't have you here last week, and we were all waxing quite lyrical. We felt that the West Ham game was, it's always a fantastic win to beat West Ham. But then after what was a bit of a routine win against AZ on Thursday, we put in a performance like that. Where did you watch it? How did you watch it? How did you feel?
Go on,
Yeah,
Kev.
I think I chose the wrong weekend to come on. I think.
Get off your chest, Kev. Go, get off your chest.
It'd have been nice to come on after the West Ham game, I think, instead of this one. But yeah, listen, don't know where to start. I'm sure I weren't the only one who thought that we was going to give Palace a good hiding. With obviously their form and obviously after the West Ham game, hopes were high, and I even stuck Spurs in my last man standing this weekend. And as I said before, never bet on your own team. And yeah, they let us down, but they didn't just let us down a little bit. They let us down in every department, I thought, in that game. And yeah, we were just never in it, never at it. I mean, there was a few times in the game where I was ready to turn it off because I could only see it going one way, and just never thought we was in the game. And yeah, for me, it's up there with Coventry away, which was a bad one. That Brighton second half, it's up there with that as well. But I was really disappointed with the way that we decided not to compete again when you're playing against a team who wants it a bit more. And that for me is a struggle at the moment to watch Spurs with, is when a team is at it and they want to get you by the jugular. Spurs don't have a bite back, and we saw it at Brighton as well. And but Palace, I thought, just wanted it a bit more in terms of physicality, aggression, and we went into our shell massively against Palace, and that was the reason why I thought we lost the game. I didn't think it was down to individual quality or quality players on the pitch playing better than us. I think it was just down to heart and desire and wanting it more. And that's the alarming thing about Spurs at the minute. It's only there in drips and drabs, and every now and then you get it. And some games you don't. But when Spurs don't play well at the moment, they really don't play fucking well. And it's alarming. It's league form. It's I know we're all in for the cups this year, boys, but the league form has to be better. And playing against teams like AZ Alkmaar and Karabag and Coventry and people like this in these cups, we might sneak through these cup rounds, but the league is still our bread and butter. For me, it's still a massive competition that, sort of defines our season next season of where we finish this year. And we can't finish any lower than we did in terms of expectation this season. So at the moment, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster with the Premier League form. The inconsistency is still there. And yeah, I don't think I was up for a big bumpy ride in the league. And at the moment, I feel like I'm getting it, and we're only in fucking October, and I don't know how it's gonna sort of plan out from now until May. If it's going to be up and down like this, and we're just going to stick to cup competitions. But by going on that performance and a few performances this season, especially away from home, it's worrying for me. And I'm not going to come on here and every time we lose, cunt the manager off and say I want him out, because I don't. I want the guy to get it right. But some of the stats that are coming out after the Palace defeat with the away defeats in the calendar year, quite concerning. When people dig up the stats, you're sort of blinded sometimes by Big Ange's. We love his personality and we love his style of play still, but I think we're starting to maybe there's a bit of smoke in the mirrors with the stats, and when you start putting out them stats, it doesn't read good for him. And with our previous manager and football being so drab, you know, I think we're still on the Ange train of, listen, we're getting exciting football, but we're not getting the results now. And I think it might be wearing thin with a lot of people, you know.
Well, this is the thing, you know, as Paul Adamson says here on YouTube, because like always now, we're live across every streaming channel. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram Live. There's so many of you. Thanks for your messages. We will get through them as we go on. We're also obviously through our streaming in terms of podcasts, through Spotify, Apple Music. But Paul Adamson on YouTube has said there's massive 3 points dropped. Matty, I wouldn't say it's, but I hear what Kev was saying there as well, because he wasn't saying it, but that feeling now about what is it we're expecting. Paul's saying about is Ange under pressure. Matt, how do you see yesterday, and how does that leave you in terms of what was the players, what was the manager's fault, who's at fault?
First of all, mate, Kev, did you sleep last night, mate? Because that emotional speech there, mate, had me welling up, man.
Done me crying yesterday at fucking full time, mate.
No, look, where do we start? Like, first of all, I get it. Our fans are frustrated, yeah? Not because of just Ange. I think it's just years and years and years, yeah? It's just frustration. I don't think there's no more time, yeah? For some of the fan base we've got, there's no time left, yeah? It has to be now. Like, and that's the frustrating part. We're not going to go out and spend 100 million on like a Declan Rice. We're not that club. But our fan base want us to do that. We want Levy to do something, yeah? What I'm not into is every time we lose a game, it's Levy or Ange's fault, yeah? Because when we beat West Ham last week, nothing's mentioned, yeah? And then we lose again, and it's all Ange out or Levy has to sell up. Do you know what I mean? I can't go around that again, you know? I think in Ange, 100% fully behind Ange, yeah? I honestly think strongly about this as well. In 2 to 3 years under Ange, we will be competing. Yeah, and I really do believe this. We're going in the right direction. The away form has to improve. The away form is worrying, yeah? I get it. Like, you think the way we line up away from home would suit us with Kulu and Maddison just behind, like, the striker and stuff. I get it, like, with Basuma. We should be much better away from home. Like, at home, teams come with a low block. But we're not. But something has to give. I think away from home, you can only play Kulu or Maddison, and Bentancur or Papasar has to come in that midfield and give us some stability. Away from home is much harder than away at home. At home, I fancy us against anyone and take the game to anyone, no matter who it is. But away from home needs tweaking.
I wouldn't say Palace had a low block yesterday, though. Do you know what I mean? If anything, they were the opposite. And
with regards to Palace yesterday, they absolutely bullied us, yeah? In the first half, they brought us down with a couple of fouls, like a couple of niggly like fouls, and the timing of the slowing down the game. I get all that from Palace, right? But we just did not want it one bit. Palace absolutely bullied us yesterday. Like, Kulu was the worst I've ever seen Kulu yesterday. He's lucky not to see red yesterday. Yeah, he was lucky. He got booked early on, and he had a couple of near misses where the ref could have just given him a yellow card. Maddison weren't in the game. Was it the right time to start Mikey Moore? I don't know. But even with the Mikey Moore thing, I think it's the fans' pressure bringing that on. Start Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore's got to start. It's got to start. It's got to start. And I think Ange's like, all right, let's start him then. But it's the wrong time to start him at Selhurst Park. You know, we've done it with Emerson Royale when he come in. He made his debut at Selhurst Park and got absolutely destroyed. It's a tough place to go. No matter what form Palace are in, it's a tough place to go, you know?
Yeah, I think the tough thing for me is that it is different sides of Spurs. You know, the first half against Brighton, we're electric away from home. We're electric away at Man United. We was electric at Leicester. We had great patches away at Newcastle. Yesterday was the most brittle we looked. Didn't like we didn't have as many ideas. Didn't look like we could break them down. And if I'm being honest, I felt a little bit like that against AZ. And I know that's, you know, AZ, but I know that's a game that you can look at. It's a Europa League game. It's a second squad. In many ways, like fringe players and whatnot. But it looked like in that game, if that penalty didn't come, I was like, is there going to be any real chances. Mikey Moore lit it up for 20 minutes, but I didn't see nothing happening. And it kind of blended into yesterday, and I found that quite tough. And therefore, I look at it and I go, Ange's style sets you up to be on the back foot or to be found out at times. We know that. We almost know that sometimes we're going to give a goal away to then go and beat a team.
Lee, I don't think that was the issue yesterday for me was just in possession. I mean, I don't think I've seen us give the ball away so much in one game than it was yesterday. The passing was wayward, and that passing was under pressure. But there was times when we was misplacing passes without being under pressure. It looked like for me a team that is shot to bits in confidence. That for me, that performance yesterday looked like a team that hasn't won in 8 games, struggling.
No, why is that happening? Because we've just beat West Ham, just beat AZ. We've lost one in what was it, 7? Like why is that? Why do you think that happens? That's what I'm saying. Where's this inconsistency coming from?
Yeah, I think in certain games, I think we as a club, not even just as a team on yesterday, we have a soft underbelly, and that's right through the club. But when it comes to the crunch in talking about in derby games and playing against shit teams like that who haven't won a game all season but have decided to be bullies, there's no fight back. I see the same in cup finals. I mean, when we want to talk about this DNA that we have, I'm talking about this weak mentality of playing against big teams and not being up for battles and cup finals and semi-finals. That's been there since I've been going, and that's like the 90s. It's always been there. And, it's been going on now for God knows how many years, since the 90s. And we've only got a few cups to show for it. So there's something fundamentally wrong with the underbelly of the club. And I don't know, you ask any Spurs fan to explain it, I don't think they can, but they can tell you that it's in our DNA to lose when things get tough. And, I think why we're so annoyed now, because we kind of hoped that under Ange that will kind of disappear. Listen, I know it's only his 2nd season, but with the way he carries himself and, all the clips that we saw him at Celtic and in changing rooms for the Australian team, he had that, talking to the players about his dad, and we just hoped that he would harden maybe this team up a bit. But then again, we've gone out this summer and we haven't bought, for me, experienced, seasoned leaders. We've done the same thing what we've had done in previous years of buying young players cheap and hoping that they're going to do something here and now. And they haven't. I mean, I watched Eze yesterday, and that was a player that we were linked to all summer. For me, I thought he absolutely fucking ran the show yesterday. And they're the kind of players I think that we should have gone and got in the summer. I know we're not going to spend 100 million, like you said, on Declan Rice, but there's money there. I mean, let's not get it fucking twisted. There's fucking money in that football club, and it's just how they want to spend it. I mean, we've been stung loads of times by spending big. Talking about players like Richarlison, Ndombele, Lo Celso, all these sort of players that you spend big on, you've got it wrong. So I understand the hesitancy to do it, but you've now got a backroom staff who now are working under the club's ethos, which is go out and find good young players. But for me, at this moment in time, if Spurs want to be successful this season, they can't have an Archie Gray starting, a Mikey Moore. They're not your sort of players that are going to go and do it for you here and now. They're players for the future, don't get me wrong. But for this moment in time, I feel like we need an Eze. We need leaders. We need good players that, in that game yesterday, I'm thinking the only way we're going to score in this game is if they get someone sent off, we get a penalty, or it's a worldie of a strike. And then I'm looking at that players on that pitch and I'm thinking, I don't see a Van der Vaart or a Gareth Bale or a David Ginola. I don't see someone that can just grab a shit game by the scruff of his neck like that and go and get the win for us. And I think that is one thing that might come back to bite Ange in the arse or the club in the arse, that they didn't go out and buy seasoned players that are ready to challenge for major honours.
What's interesting, just sorry to say a minute, Matt, is today I went on Twitter and somebody posted the goal that we scored against Palace. Funny enough, this same time, end of October, a Friday night football game, we went from the goalkeeper, pretty much similar team, and passed it round. Unbelievable goal. Sonny finished it off. And And the confidence in passing, the application to it, that they clearly bought into it. There does seem to be that hesitancy. I don't know if it's teams have read them a bit more and therefore get up them a bit more, and they didn't do that in the first couple of months of last year because we were new and it was all a bit exciting, and you naturally saw what it was doing against other teams. So opponents, when we played them, might have stood off just to gather what they think they have to do against a team. But it does feel like that fluency isn't there as strong at the moment. Yeah, it's the same players, and like you say, I think like with Ange, I reckon he is that, his ethos, his way of thinking is exactly what us fans want to be doing. But at the same point, like yesterday, that goal's come about because there is that inclination of you must play from the back all the way through. You've got to play all the way through from the back, whatever happens. I want it playing out. And that's been our downfall in a way. And I think that we've become less confident in doing that, Matt. And they are the little things now that are starting to come in, because how we've started this season is how I thought we'd start last season. When we got Ange and we started the pod last year, we was like, we reckon we'll be strong at home, and away we might get found out, and that's something that'll have to get improved on year 2, year 3. But it's almost flipped, and how we started last year was a lot stronger to now what we're doing now, which is almost what we expected from the get-go. So yeah, it's bizarre because the performances are not tallying up to stay in a consistent rhythm.
Going back to Kev when he was saying about how nervous we looked, I think that starts from Vicario, because every time he touches the ball, I get nervous. When he's got the ball at his feet, I feel worse there than I did with Lloris with the ball at his feet. I feel like every time Vicario's always taking that extra touch, and he's a second away from the team scoring, like trying to kick the ball, and it's going to rebound off the striker and go in the back of the net.
Yeah, it's heart attack stuff.
Vicario. But also, you're talking about a leader. In January, I think we need to go and get an experienced midfielder to be like, right, that's not working. It hasn't worked for 75 minutes. Go long. You've just brought in Richarlison and Solanke. We didn't play one long ball. Like, try something different. 93rd minute, Vicario's still holding the ball on the edge of his box, thinking like Eddie Nketiah is going to pressure him. Like, it's just something, you can't always play that way. Like one of the comments there, like Ange's style of play will be his biggest downfall. Like, I'm fully behind Ange, but he has to tweak things, especially away from home. He can't play that way, like all the time.
But he's not going to change, is he? I mean, he had the fans forum recently. He's made it totally clear that he is not going to change. And it could be, as Wes Ewing says there, his biggest downfall. I still totally believe in him. I still believe that there's just that sense of, at the moment, they just can't find a rhythm, and you can only hope that it's going to turn around.
Do you see, like, Sonny's normally captain, he ain't going to go beyond Ange. Do you know what I mean? If we're playing a certain way, Sonny ain't going to come out and say, right, let's change it. Ramiro, like, you'd think he would, like, but he's not showing no leadership at the back there at the minute, is he? Like, we haven't got someone to just be a captain, be an absolutely solid captain. We haven't got someone.
And is that what we're lacking, do you think, when we're out there? Because yesterday, I mean, at the end of the day, it's those players that have got to go out there and do the job, right? He set them up. He set up the method.
Yeah.
I don't know if sometimes, because things haven't gone, when things are going well like they were this time last year when we played Palace, everything you try comes off, and you believe in the manager. You drink the Kool-Aid, as they say. It's almost, obviously, since around March but last season, we've seen that there's been these things about us soft and brittle, losing the big games, lost 4th place. Then it's been about away from home. Now it's, almost a 50% win rate. Let's not forget, we sacked Nuno for winning 5 and losing 5, manager of the month in August at 50% rate. Like, this is what we've got here at the moment. You'd almost say under 50% because the draw.
Yeah, I think the difference is that, I mean, the board are fully invested in Ange. They're looking 100%.
At. Oh yeah, and
there was never invested in Nuno. I mean, I don't think they saw Nuno as a. It was more of a just let's fill in the gap sort of thing at the moment, because we was a bit of a laughing stock because we didn't know the fuck to a point, and we was interviewing every fucking Tom, Dick and Harry. I thought fucking Matty Kerr was going to get a fucking interview at one point to his fucking after his Championship manager fucking glory days. But
mate,
I mean, that was never in things. I can imagine the last thing on this board's mind is to fucking get rid of Ange. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be mad. I'd be mad.
I mean, the thing they've got around him now, as in terms of club structure, you know, they would have seen them not down the road. I remember Arteta on shaky legs at one point, and they stuck with him, give him some time to get rid of shit, got his own players in, put his own stamp on it. Do I think Ange is as tactically astute as Arteta? No, I don't. So I think with Ange, if he's going to play the one way, he's going to need the right players to do it. And for me at the moment, he doesn't have a squad or, like we just said, leaders to play that one way. And when it ain't going right, someone to roll up their sleeves and go, right, lads, this ain't working. Fucking let's sort it out. Fucking you're passing shit. Like, I always set up a Roy Keane type. We don't have that. And what I worry about Spurs is, I think I said it in a game a few weeks back. If it's before half time and it's happening, I'm always thinking it's okay because they're going to go in half time and he'll be able to sort them out. If it happens during the second half, I don't believe anyone on that pitch can get them fucking sorted. And I'm thinking, well, we can't get back in there with Ange now because we're in the second half. And I think it's done. And that's what I'm worried about. For me, there's no leaders on the pitch to change everyone's attitude, and someone to have a go at Van der Ven and go, fucking hell, calm down, let's play up the back. Vicario, stop playing fucking 5-yard passes to someone's feet in the 6-yard box with a player up his arse. You know, sort yourself out. There's no one to shake anyone up. And in games like yesterday, it was clearly evident. And that's why it was so one way the whole time, because they never could get going. No one could turn around to him and go, where's your balls? It was just a fucking complete meltdown. And to be able to watch this for the whole year, and we are going to come up against stronger teams in Europe at some point, we're going to get further in cups and get to quarterfinals, and we might have to go away to places like Palace on a fucking Wednesday night. And shit could get tough. And it's like, with this current squad now, I don't feel like they could fight in a battle on a pitch in a shitty away game in an evening kickoff or something like that, you know?
But the biggest thing now is like, and Matt, I'll say this to you, like, the biggest thing now is we have got a huge, huge cup game against Manchester City, who, whether it's first team, second team, they're going to be a good team. We've got to go out there and we've got to make a mark. This is everything now, Matt, isn't it? And we've got, like, somehow we've got to find this consistency, because it is starting to get worrying about how poor we are away from home. It's all well and good winning at home, but if it's going to become one of these things where it's a 50% win rate because we lose away, we're just going to become a bit mid-table, aren't we? And that, I hate to say it, can be the way, because it can be really exciting when it comes off, but not when it doesn't, you know?
See, I'm still feeling positive, right? I think yesterday's game against Palace was the first game we should have lost. Like, we deserved to lose that game, yeah? I feel like Arsenal game should have been a draw, roughly, yeah? But look, and I feel like Newcastle away, we should have beat Newcastle away. Like, I feel like I'm still positive about it, and there is going to be bumps in the road. He's coming into his second season. And I know people say judge him on next season and stuff. Like, we're in this transition period where, we may have spent £300 million, but it needs 300 million more to this date now. We've gone from 2 negative managers absolutely ripping us apart, the fans and the club, the board and stuff, to Ange that's come in so positive and changed. He's trying to change everything in the club. And you're not just going to do that in the space of like 16 months, you know? It's going to take time, and we will have them bumps in the road. But this season is just, I thought we would start better. Don't get me wrong. I thought we would have started this season much better than what we have. But we're only 25% the way through this season, you know? And look, we will kick on. We will kick on. I don't know when, but Man City coming up. Look, I'm sure Ange's in Pep's ear, yeah, in that tunnel, in the dugout, saying, listen, do you remember who gave you the league last year? Yeah, just remember that moment. Yeah, you can give us a cup at least. Yeah, just do us something.
You kept in touch with him, people you shook hands with. Can't they do us a favour?
Well, I'll have a word with him, mate. You know, I'll see what he can do.
I mean, to finish off looking at this, I know it's probably going to be hard. I've asked everybody. There's loads of people on the Instagram. We got Jason Mara, Aidan, Richie Aluza, Carl's Mivs, Maury, Ireland Fism, Ali Truman, Ross Prim. Loads of you on there. There's loads of people on the YouTube, on the Facebook. We'd love to know what you think as we go through now. I'll start with. It's going to be tough. I'm going to start with man of the match. Kev, was there one? Who was it?
I honestly, mate, I couldn't give you a man of match at that performance. I thought every single one of them was. I tell you what, if I had to pick anyone who I thought put themselves about, I thought it was Solanke did. I thought his hold up play was good. I thought he looked fucking busy. Yeah. He looked strong. Yeah, if I had to give it to anyone, Solanke for at least a 7. But for the rest of them, I thought they all weren't worth a fucking pot of pissing. I thought they were all fucking terrible. And yeah, apart from that, I couldn't give you anybody that I thought played well.
Yeah, I think he's holding himself in a good light. He works tirelessly up there. I like him a lot. I just hope we're able to find him. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lou, with Solanke, I think people are going to judge him on goals, but I think he's more than that. I think he's a creator. I think he's going to be massive for us in creating goals as well as scoring them. But he's a proper number 9, and we've needed that for a while. So if they can all pick up around him, I think we're going to see a special player. But not only putting the ball in the net, but sort of laying it on for people to put it in the net as well.
Yeah, massively. And I guess then, Matt, do you have a different man of the match? Would you agree?
No, I think it's just Solanke, mate. I think he's the only one that could walk off that pitch yesterday. He thought, you know what, I actually played all right. Like he was feeding off scraps. Yeah, he had scraps all game. Like he had up against 3 centre backs, and he was by himself. And what could he do? But I think what he'd done every time he had the ball, he'd done the right things. It was just the rest of the team were poor. So I think you can only give it to Solanke, really.
Yeah, big time. I guess then champagne moment. I don't know. I'd probably go if it was Johnson hitting the post. Is there anything else, Kev?
Fucking hell, is that what it's come down to? Fucking hitting the post.
But I see Pedro Porro do a Cruyff turn. Can that count as that?
Yeah, I thought I saw someone do a back heel. That'd do.
I don't think there is one.
I'll give to Werner just for not giving the fucking ball away once when he come on the pitch. I thought he actually he played it very safe and didn't give the ball away once. So champagne moments for Timo not giving the fucking ball away.
Yeah. Matt, would you go with the Cruyff turn?
Mate, I don't know what I'm going with, mate. I'll probably go for the corner plan. Corner plan or something. I don't know.
It's tough.
Mate, I don't think you can pick one. What is there?
No, well, as I've said, hitting the post, I guess closest. There was a shot from Madison late on. I mean, other than that, yeah, I wouldn't know. It was one of those days, and you got to just hope it's one of those days,
Really, yeah. Champagne moment then is probably for Dean Henderson's save on Madison's shot. It was a great save. Yeah, it was just before half time. You probably give it to him for that.
Yeah, I thought Vicario made a good save. It was in the second half, wasn't it? He had to add. Who's it from? Is it from Wharton or Hughes? He put one around the post.
It was Wharton, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a great save, actually. Yeah, he hit it, and I thought that was going in.
It's what Matt mentioned about Lloris. It's quite similar for me. It's both were good shot stoppers. I think Vicario is a very good shot stopper. It's the playing out with the feet. It's like, Spurs have always wanted to play this way and always have done under every manager. And it's like, can we find a goalkeeper that can play with his feet? I'll watch Manana for United, Raya, Edison, obviously. All good goalkeepers. Even the Brighton fella can be a bit hairy with his hands, but with his feet and distribution, he's great. And it's like, I know it's very hard to find the balance of both, but Vicario's decision making on playing out sometimes is like what Matt said. It's a fucking nightmare to watch. I mean, my fucking heart is in my arse when I watch him fucking try and play out from the back sometimes, and it's like, it can't be like that. When you're trying to be an elite football team, it just can't be like that,
No, big time. So then I guess this might be a bit easier, sadly. But Matt, I'll start with you on this one. Dick of the day.
Mate, I'm going to go with Kulu, mate, because I think he left us vulnerable yesterday, mate. I am. I think, do you know, like even when Eze come inside and Kulu just done a silly clip on him and he went down, the ref could have booked him. I think Kulu he left us vulnerable yesterday, and I think him coming off was the right choice. But don't take off both creative midfielders. But I think Kulu Kulu for me, mate, because he's been so high recently. I was expecting him to stay there, and he just dropped right down there yesterday.
Yeah,
he's one of them that gets rattled. He gets fucking, when their game ain't going his way, he gets fucking shooting, gets rattled, he gets leery, and it's a shame because when he gets rattled, he loses that fucking that flow of being a really dangerous player because his head's just on losing his obviously just losing his head, and it's like it's a shame.
He did kick out as well, didn't he? He kicked out as well.
The thing is, I would have hooked him earlier as well. He stayed on longer. That's another thing about Ange. What people will say, it was like you could see Kulu was playing up, and it's like he ain't getting into the game. He's fucking doing stupid things. He's been booked. Make the sub, and it took him a while to make the sub. And it's just like, let's make that sub earlier. Let's get someone on. Do you know what I mean? I know we're trying to chase a goal, but I'd rather try and chase a goal than go down to 10 and lose Kulu for another fucking game or so under suspense. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. Hussein Sally says in the chat, Kulu was shocking yesterday. That was his dick of the day. I think, I mean, I don't like the passing at the back. I could call the centre halves a bit of dick of the day the way that they dealt with that because it led to the goal. Romero playing it across. I just don't like. That's the truth that we say. Like I'm all for a manager wanting to play it out, be silky, be sexy, work from the back, but there's too many times it's happening with us now where we're bringing it. There's not confidence in bringing it out, and I think that could play a little bit into like that little bit of wariness. Sometimes just launch it. You know what I mean? Even Forster, who hates the ball at his feet, the other night he looked worried anytime he had to do it. Luckily, they were such a poor team that we was able to get past them. But yeah, for me, the defense, the two centre halves got dick of the day for that because it ultimately cost us in a way. In a game against a team that are really not going anywhere, but it's the only thing we can hope that this is a one-off. And earlier on, we talked about Mikey Moore. Had a great game against AZ. Played yesterday. Kev, it's not easy, is it, when he comes in? Because you do want him to start, and I'd rather he start over Werner. I'd rather he start over Richarlison in many ways because if you're in a bit of form, if you feel the momentum's there, why not start him? You know, we were all for it on Thursday night, but tough way to get bedded into your debut then when you start, right?
Yeah, I can only think. I mean, Werner went off at half time against AZ, so
he was useless when he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, he was limping around Werner as well, so I thought he's injured. So I thought that's maybe why he started more because Werner went 100%, and because for how good Moore was in little patches in that game, which he was good for a good 10-15 minute spell, I didn't think that was enough to warrant him a start against Palace, and Palace away. I know the kid carries a lot on his shoulders and he's got that stance of where he thinks he looks like he can take the world on. I love all that. But I thought it was a bit of a tricky game to chuck him in. I know hindsight's a mad thing and we're saying it now because he had a stinker. But I just thought it was a bit of a tricky game for him. I thought he never really got into it. I just think we should be patient with him. You know, he made them runs the other night. And I mean, the whole of that fucking Park Lane, which looked like it was sold out, by the way, we're singing his name and I love that. But I've just been, we've got to be careful of not expecting too much too soon. I just think you've got a good chance of ruining a player by putting too much on his shoulders at such a young age. I know in years gone by, we've seen it with fucking Rooney and Owen and people like that. I just think at this time and today's age, it's a different kind of game now, and you've got to look after these kids a bit more. I just think we've just got to be a bit clever in dipping him into games. You know, for me at the moment, he's a Carabao Cup player, a Europa League player against certain sides, and he's a last sort of 15-20 minute against teams that we might be winning against just for now, because I do think he'll come good and I do think he's going to be something special. But I don't expect too much of him, because when you're 17 years old, you live by game with your confidence, and I'm hoping it won't knock his confidence that Palace game. But I just don't want to see too much too soon, and I don't want him to drown too quick, if you know what I mean. Give him an armband, give him a couple of armbands for now, and just let him have a paddle.
Well, this is the thing. You talk about Europa, you talk about Carabao, Matty. We've got, as I said earlier, a huge game against City. We win this, we're in the quarterfinals. It's a big cup. It's a cup. We won a cup. What do you do on Wednesday night? Because, like, you can't really afford to sort of play second teams against Man City, regardless of who they play, right?
No, I think we're just going to go at Man City again. I don't think he's going to start Kulu and Maddison because we'll get picked off in midfield. I think Papasar. I think Bentancur will come actually. Bentancur will come in. Probably Papasar as well, if I'm honest. And Basuma might find himself on the bench. I think he might go maybe Kulu, Papasar, Bentancur in midfield this week. I think Man City will rest players. I do. I think they're going to focus on the league, probably the FA Cup and Champions League this year. I think we're quite lucky. I'm going to say we're quite lucky to draw Man City if we beat them. But obviously, if we lose, then it's quite unlucky. But the way Man City are looking, I think they will rest players, and it's down to us to take the opportunity. Yeah, it's not down to Man City to give us the gap. That's down to us to take it to Man City and get the crowd. Like we need the crowd on Wednesday, yeah, because right now everyone's confidence has just been shot, yeah. So we need the crowd behind us, and we know what it's like at home with that crowd behind you. It's a complete different game at home.
Yeah, man, it's going to be tough, and we do need them. That is the truth. We do need it. We all want the cup, so we do need them. Kev, do you reckon he's going to start everyone from Van de Ven, Romario, Vicario, Solanke, Son if he's fit? I mean, there's still talk of him being out, but like if he's got them, is he starting them?
I think he should. Do I think he will? Probably not. I think he'll have a little chop and change. We're talking about Man City resting players. The difference is with Man City is that they're players that they bring in who haven't had much game time. Are fucking top players who could walk into our squad. After yesterday's performance, I wouldn't like to play their fucking under 21s. Do you know what I mean? It's just you just never know what you're going to get with City. Their quality, and if they've got young kids playing, they're going to be fucking hungry to show. You still have Pep on the side, fucking instructing them. So it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever. Whatever team they put out and whatever team we put out, it's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be tight. It's still going to be nail biting stuff. But yeah, for me, with the way I feel like the league form is going to go this year, I'm all in for the cups. I feel like I'm going to be a cup supporter this year and be more invested in the cup games because I feel like we're desperate for a cup. Two of them cups, especially the Carabao and the Europa League, are definitely really winnable at the moment with the teams in it. And I'll play everyone just to get through these rounds and get us a cup. But I know it's not easy with obviously the Premier League games coming up, and you've got the Europa League coming next year, and you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful to balance it. But this is why I wanted a better squad, a better proven squad for this season. With all these games coming up, bringing these young players in, it's difficult because in Europa League games like away to Galatasaray next week and Rangers, I'm sure he's going to want to play your Archie Grays and your Mike Moores and all that. Yeah. And do I think they're cut out for them sort of games? Probably not. They're going to be tough. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game Wednesday, and I'll go all out if I could, but he won't. So we'll have to see.
I think he'll make 2 or 3 changes. That's it, Max. I think he's going to.
He should.
I don't think he's going to take that risk because if we lose to Man City,
massive game on the weekend as well coming up though. Villa's fucking massive.
Yeah, we've got Villa. Yeah.
Kev, I get that. But if we lose to Man City and we go out the cup, there's going to be a toxic fan base. Yeah, there's going to be a very toxic fan base.
Especially if he makes a lot of changes and we lose. I mean, his head's going to be on the chopping block, and it's like, you can get away with it against certain teams, but when you're at home to arguably the best team in the fucking world football, your fans are desperate for a cup. You've got to, sort of put a stamp on it and say, look, put a team out that says, I'm going for this. But I don't think he will. I think he'll look at the European Cup, the UEFA Cup as the one he probably wants out of them all, I think.
So what, Ryan Mason back in charge for Villa then?
Well, this is the thing. Are we going to win these games? Are we going to proceed in the cup? Are we going to beat Villa? I know Villa's a different entity. They're a good side at the moment. We obviously beat them convincingly away after losing at home earlier in the season. What we expecting out of these next 2
Lee,
games?
that's what I'm saying, Lee. It's the inconsistency. It's like how many times we come on here and you ask us about what do we think the next result's going to be? I just can't tell you. And we're going back into that. We're not putting runs of wins together. This is where I thought we'd kick on from last year and put wins together. Listen, in this Premier League, you need to if you put 6 or 7 wins together in a row, for me, you're championship material. You're fighting up there. I know it's a difficult league, But this win, lose, draw, lose, win, draw, lose, win, it's for us, it's not good enough. And for me, if he doesn't finish in and around where we finished last year, or finish any lower than we finished last year and doesn't win a cup, I mean, I think the writing's on the wall for him. So, you know, again, this is why I say a massive squad and a competitive squad, a seasoned squad was needed this year. And for me, I just don't think we have a seasoned squad to challenge on all fronts. So something has to give. And at the moment, I feel like it's our league form that's going to give over the cups.
Yeah, man, it's inconsistent. But that's the whole sort of topic of today's pod. It is about the inconsistency. You couldn't say what's going to happen. And there's two big games against two big teams, regardless of, you know, what City do. Hussein Salih said he's putting his neck out there. He thinks Pep's going to change the team completely and Spurs go strongest and win 3-1. He thinks a draw 2-2 against Villa. I mean, Villa seems so long away now because of what happened and what's coming up in 2 days' time. You don't know even how to look at that, because we beat City on Wednesday and morale will be high and you think, God, they'll go out and do something. You're always going to back them at home. But the inconsistency, which I thought would be there, as I said earlier, last season, is coming to this season, which is mad. And I don't know what it is at times. I don't think anyone can obviously put their finger right on it. But there's performances and there's styles that last year I thought we were moving the ball quicker. I thought we was moving it sharper with more confidence. We were finding space better. We were taking chances more. And I think that little by little defeats have started to ebb away at our sort of armour. And I think players are starting to think a little bit more, and therefore it's slowing the game down. That AZ game, there was times, obviously they sat deep, and that's going to happen. These teams have thought about a low block, but I think that when you move a ball quick, you're gonna break down that low block in the end, or you're gonna get somewhere. I just think at times, and what started to happen, not so much as bad as a Conte thing, I would never say that, but it's got to a point where it's almost like, got the ball here, right, who am I going? I go left, right, left, up, but come back. You know, it might move quicker than it did under Conte, but it's not making those yards. But it was this time last year.
Yeah, no killer instinct at the end of it, worry.
Yeah, because it was there this time last year, as seen with that Palace goal.
The thing is, Lee, that's why I thought we brought Maddison in. You know, we needed someone to unlock the door in certain situations like that. And for me, he hasn't done that. If anything, he's been dropped back into the midfield and he's sort of sitting in as the two. I know he's got more license to go, but really you want him sort of playing behind them forwards, and when teams put a low block in, find them passes through the gaps and create stuff. And at the moment he isn't doing that. And I think that's where we're struggling in certain situations in the final third and low blocks, you know, because we just don't seem to have the key to unlock doors.
It's interesting, but we go on. We'll obviously be here next week, all about the Premier League and the Carabao Cup.
Lee, how do you think we'll get on these next two? Lee, how do you think we'll get on these next two?
To be honest, Matt, like we've all said, I think I couldn't put my head on it. You know, as to say it just for the sake of saying it, I'll say I reckon we can beat a second string if we play our first team against City. And I think I've seen enough against Villa to know that we can take the game to them and get a result there, whether it's a win or a draw. But I don't know, because I didn't think that we'd go out against Palace with some of the players rested for a whole week, 8 days, because they didn't play on Thursday, and we played the first game on the Saturday.
Don't you think the best thing is here? Don't you think the best thing is we're at home with these two games? So the players are not going to be able to get away. The players are not going to be able to get away with a half-hearted performance like they did against Palace.
No, and that's where the positive comes into it, that you think, right, well, you know, we've got the home advantage, so they'll turn up and we'll turn up as fans.
Yeah, what happens when we have to go away in the next round of the cup? And
this is
like previous years when we went away to Borough. That was another game. That sort of game, you know, when we just didn't fancy it. It's like that needs to change. We're going out of competitions and we're dropping points because we don't want to challenge. I mean, we've gone away to Man United. I know Man United are a bit of a beaten up club as a whole, and we went out there and absolutely ripped them apart. But you've gone and done that to Man United, and then you've gone and played like that against Palace. And the difference is between them two teams is that Man United haven't got the character to have a fight in the game, and it made it easy for us. But Palace did, and we didn't know how to hit back. And that's what's got to change. If that isn't not changed, we will always lose games against teams that are fucking fighting and scrapping and teams that are up for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Kev. You know what? This week, I'll say this with chess, mate. We're going to beat Man City and Villa both 2-1. And
I like it.
Man City because we have to win, Kev. And I've seen the state of the weekend's fixtures, and I have no choice but to back Spurs in the last man standing. So the Spurs will win.
Well, you got back Spurs versus Villa against Villa.
Kev, I've seen the state of the fixtures, and
they are.
I've looked at the fixtures. Yeah. It's either Fulham to beat Brentford or Tottenham to beat Villa, and I've got to go Tottenham to beat Villa.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting,
lads. Just looking as we do each week through the younger teams. The women didn't have a game this week because it was international duty. So the women were out playing for the different countries. The under 21s sadly lost it. They've had a bit of a shitter with the Premier League 2 this season. Lost 4-1 to Reading. They've not really got a foothold on this. Obviously, some of the players have graduated up into the first team, your Moores, your Lancashire, so we're losing that. Lancashire was scoring goals for fun in Premier League 2. Alfie Dorrington got a red card at the last minute of this game in that 4-1 loss where a player called Jeremiah Neil Akioa Peters scored all 4 goals, and 3 of them, a hat-trick of them, his last 3 goals came in the last 10 minutes, 2 of them penalties, so it looked like we sort of did what we're doing in the first team and throw it away, just kind of from the we were 1-0 up as well in that game, losing 4-1. And the under-18s as well. Yeah, under-18, we lost 3-2 to West Brom. Another game, 2-0 up at half-time, and we lost 3-2.
Fucking hell, it's going through the old fucking club.
But in this one, we didn't have our man, the one we were always talking about, Jamie Luca Williams-Barnett. He was on England duty for the under-17s against Latvia, and he scored. So we clearly missed him because he's got 7 in 7, 3 assists to add to that. I've seen some people talking about him on Twitter, some Spurs fans talking about him on Twitter because Ange has been talking about some of the youngsters and saying he's seen some talent. I mean, obviously it's very early days.
Get him in there.
Get
him in there now.
Yeah, I know. We might need to get him in there, but he's scoring for England on duty, so it's good in that sense, although it wasn't good for Tottenham in 2 games for the under-21s and the under-18s. We were winning and then lost it both in the second half. But, look, lads, it's not been the nicest pod when you have to break it down like that. Inconsistency always brings a sense of nervousness and uncertainty from us because we don't know what to think. 1 minute we should be cock-a-hoop. This time last week we was happy. Now we're almost like, well, what next? I mean, I love that your enthusiasm is there, Matty. And so with that being said, I'm going to end it on a higher note. We've got a little quiz here. So let's see. I'm going to put your knowledge to the test. So hopefully you're still both happy. And everybody who's listening or watching is happy after this as well, that your Spurs knowledge is
beating Matt at this quiz might just make my fucking weekend, I think. It's been a fucking shit of a weekend. This could be the only shining light.
That's the thing, Kev. You're too competitive, mate.
Right. What I'll do, I mean, I will ask the questions and then at the end I'll give the answers. All right. So hopefully you're able to remember what you got. I don't know if you've got a phone there or pad and paper. Obviously, if you're watching along, throw your comments in the Instagram, in the Facebook, in the YouTube, and I will give you a shout out if you've got it.
How many questions is it?
We've got 6 questions. 6 questions.
You're asking me if I've got a pen and paper. You've just thrown this on me.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, you've got great mental capability. You've managed many a team to success in Championship Manager and Football Manager. You'll be all right here. But I'm going to ask you some questions based around what's happened in the last week in terms of youngest players and this and that and whatnot. So we're going to play around that sense. And the first one is, who was the youngest ever player to play for Spurs, and who was their opponent? Who was the youngest ever Spurs player? Keep it to yourself till we go through the 6 questions. And again, if you're on the socials or you're listening along, keep this in mind. The youngest ever Spurs player and who was the opponent.
What's this?
I'll ask you at the end again. Yeah, I'll repeat the question at the end so you can give me your answers. But anybody who's watching along, just throw your comments in and let me know what you think. This is this is ever, like in terms of
Ever.
any competition. Youngest ever Spurs debutant, and who was their opponent? This one, a little bit different, so it might help you out on the first one. But who is the youngest ever Spurs player to make their European debut in a competition in Europe? Harold, who was the player? Not Harold, sorry, but who was the youngest ever Spurs debutant in Europe?
Well, how are we answering this?
I will come back round. So I'm answering it now. So keep it in your mind. I'm putting it out there as well for the people on social. So if they want, give us your comments and I'll give you a shout out if you get it right. So the first question again, youngest ever Spurs debutant, and then the youngest ever European debutant. So that might help you out. It could be a trick question. If you know your Spurs knowledge, you know. If you know, you know, they say. Third one, who is the youngest ever Spurs Premier League goal scorer? Youngest ever Spurs Premier League goal scorer. Like to know what you think. Be very good to know. The youngest ever Spurs Premier League goal scorer.
Has he been on the pod?
Well, mate, I can't give any answers yet. Who knows? From the youngest to the oldest, who is the oldest ever Spurs first team player to make an appearance? Oldest ever first team player appearance. Again, I'll bring these back round. I'm doing it twice for the people listening, for the people watching, and obviously the boys. I'll have the competition against them too. Oldest ever first team player. Now, here is one where you can get 2 points for it. Who scored the most Premier League goals in a calendar year, and how many goals was it? Most Premier League goals in a calendar year, and how many was it?
Tricky fucking question, if you ask me.
Yeah, they're tricky. Right. And this one, Seaborn Craig, I've seen your message, mate. I've seen your message. Lastly, Spurs sadly have the worrying record of conceding, being the first Premier League team to concede how many goals since the conception of the Premier League. We were the first team to concede this landmark number of goals in the Premier League. How many was it? So I'll go back round. There's people shouting out in the thing. Seaborn Craig, you are right, mate. I will come to you. So I'm going to go back to him now. We've got the 6 questions. The youngest ever Spurs player. Kev, Matt, what are you saying?
The youngest ever Spurs player. This ain't just Premier League, is it? This is
ever. Yeah, debutant. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's the obvious.
I think that, but I've got to say Mikey Moore when he was 16.
Right,
yeah, I'm not going for that. I'm going for, did Glenn Hoddle make his debut? Very, very young. I'll go for Hoddle.
Sadly, you're both wrong. It was Alfie Devine against Marine in the FA Cup. Do you remember when it was in the COVID year?
How old was he then?
He was 16 years and 163 days.
What's happened to him?
He's still along. He's still around.
He's at Marine, I think.
He's like that. Ewan Ferguson.
He got the coach.
Scores that trick. Never heard of him again.
That was the game when who was the geezer we had? The Portuguese striker, Vinicius. He done the old Mbappe celebration, didn't he?
Yeah.
Marine.
God, yeah.
He made us like, all right, cunt.
Next one. The youngest ever European debutant for Spurs.
I'll go Mikey Moore for this one.
Mikey Moore.
Now, it is wrong, but I am going to confirm because someone else has asked about it. But the answer is Dane Scarlett. Dane Scarlett was 16 years old and 247 days.
What's Mikey Moore now? 17, isn't he?
He's 17, yeah.
Fucking
He's 17,
Scarlett.
so it was Dane
Oh,
Scarlett.
I've even forgot about Dane Scarlett. I've even forgot his
Yeah.
He's never going to make it in, mate. He's done.
Yeah. So it's 0-0 between you two, and nobody's got this one right.
I think it's going to be 0-0 for a fucking lot of these questions, Lee.
Right. Well, let's go to this one. The youngest Tottenham Premier League goal scorer. Who was it? You might. And if you know your history.
I think, do you know, Matt? Do you not think we should ask for a decade here?
Nah, I'm going to say Rory Allen.
Rory Allen. Rory Allen. Kev, what are you saying?
What was this one? The youngest?
Youngest ever Premier League goal scorer.
Oh, actually. Now, go on. I'll have to stick with the answer. I'll give the first answer. I'll stick.
Hussein Sally says Dean Marnie. He's
Oh,
wrong.
Marnie. Oh, remember that fucking one against Everton? Good times, that.
Matty says Rory Allen. Kev?
There's a couple in there, though, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know. But fucking Neil Fenn. How you said that on the pod?
You're
Danny wrote the screamer?
Wrong. Again, no. It was Andy Turner. Early days of the Premier League.
Andy
17
Turner.
years.
Matt, you was still in your dad's nuts when he was playing, mate.
Now, a good friend, Seaborn Craig, got this right.
What, Turner?
Who is the next one here. Oldest ever first team appearance maker.
Oh, I think I know this one.
Go on.
I've got to go Brad Friedel.
Matty.
Well, was this the goal scorer?
No, oldest ever appearance maker.
If I'm wrong, Lee, let me have another go at it.
All right, I will.
Neighbour.
I can say that Seaborn Craig got it right, and so did Kevin. At 42 years old, Brad Friedel is the oldest ever Premier League appearance maker for Spurs. Most Premier League goals in a calendar year. Who was it and how many? For Spurs, this is.
I don't know. I couldn't say. I'm going to go with Jermaine Defoe.
Oof. Matt?
No, I'm not actually. No, I want to take that back.
No, first answer.
I want to go Clive Allen. No, Clive Allen. I want to go for
Premier League. It's Premier League.
Oh, Premier League. Oh, I'll have Defoe then.
Matty?
I'm going to go Sonny because I don't want to go Kane. I'm going to go Sonny.
All right. How many are you both saying? How many goals in that calendar year?
18.
18. Kev?
Okay, no. I'll go for 31.
You're both wrong on the goals. It was 39. And I'm so surprised because James Coops got it right. And I thought it would be a no-brainer. Of course it was Harry Kane.
No, I thought
it was too easy.
He has got the record for the whole of the Premiership in a calendar year. 39 goals in one from January to December calendar year.
It's too easy.
I'm going to go Kane. I thought, no, I'm going to go Sonny.
Yeah. And then this is a sad question. So, Kev, you're one up with one to go. Sadly, Spurs were the first Premier League team to hit this landmark with goals conceded. Yeah. But how many goals was it?
This in Premier League history?
Yeah. Big up Hussein, big up Seaborn Craig. You both got Kane right. But this is the final question. How many is that landmark conceding goals number?
Oh, man, I ain't got a fucking clue. I do remember this thing coming up. I don't know, Matt. I'll go off your figure, Matt. What are you going for?
So we've lost the 2-0 scoreline. Is it 10 times?
No, but how many goals? This is in general in terms of we are the first team to over the history of the Premiership to concede this amount of goals. Yeah, what's the landmark number?
Oh, to concede.
Yeah, the whole Premier League.
Since the Premier League started, we've let in this amount of goals first. We hit this horrible landmark first.
We've had some horrific defenders, so we've conceded a lot in one season, 100%. Like when we had Gary Doherty, Alton Felwell and that.
Yeah. So, add them all up. What are you saying? What's that landmark number? I'll push you. You got 10 seconds, lads.
It's one of them ones where you don't want to guess in case you're miles off it. So it's got to be
James 94 has said a big number on there.
So it's how many goals we've conceded?
Yeah, we were the first to have conceded this amount of goals, this landmark number. Go on, say a number.
1992, how many Premier League goals we've conceded?
Yeah.
So you not got the fucking question yet, Matt? How many times did you explain? How many goals we conceded in the Premier League since it's begun?
800. What are you saying, Kev?
No, I'll go more than that. Fucking, I'm in the thousands. 1,100.
How many? We were the first team in the Premier League history to concede 1,000 goals. The answer
1,000
is
on the button.
1,000. Yeah, we've conceded more than that now, but we were the first to hit that horrible landmark.
What did you say, Kev?
He said 1,100.
1,100, I said.
On the chat there, we had James 94 say 2,000. He was thank God it ain't 2,000.
I
But
just see Cooper. James Cooper put 12.
Yeah, James Cooper put 12. Yeah, I wish it was.
No, that's against Aston Villa on fucking Sunday.
Between you two, Kev, you sneak it a 1-0 win.
Narrow win, mate.
Well, that's it. I mean, yeah, lads, it's not been the easiest one, but thanks. It's always good to have a chat. And hopefully, look, we've only got a game in 2 days. At least they're both at home. Then the one on Sunday.
You boys going or going City?
No, I'm not there this week. It's so hard to go on the midweek.
I'll be at both. Are you going, Kev?
I'm going City, yeah. Not going to go Villa.
I'm taking Flo Wednesday.
Oh, I'll meet up with you Wednesday, mate. Give you a shout.
Yeah.
Lovely. Lads, enjoy your week. Let's hope we're really happy this time next week. And we've got 2 wins, 1 in the Cup and 1 in the league after us.
The problem is, though, if we get them 2 wins, we'll lose the next 2 after that.
Against Ipswich and bloody, yeah. Oh, mate.
I'm just a Cup supporter now. I like my loyalty points. I'm just a Cup supporter. That's all I am. I'm in it for the Cups, mate. It's like the 80s, in it for the Cups.
Lee, do you want my Galatasaray ticket?
Oh, mate, I'll be all right. I'll watch it at home. I'll watch it at home just in peace. But no, lads, thanks for being on. Thanks for everybody that's been involved. So many chats. As always, so many people logging in across all the different platforms. With the Heart and Here Spurs Fans podcast, we'll be back next week. Keep it positive. Keep the faith. And come on, you Spurs. See you next week.